Hi, Annie here, and today I thought I'd try something a bit different. And this is, instead of doing a get ready with me video, this is a crochet along with me video. And it'll be kind of the same thing, it's just I'm doing something while we're talking about something else as well. So let me know if you like this in the end, and if you have anything that you want to add, make sure to put it in the comments below. The reason I'm doing this is because I just want to chat, so make sure you chat below with me. So yes, so this is what I'm working on today. It's just a shell stitched, like, I'll show you the nice side. Why am I showing you the yucky side? It's this, and it's done in 4 different colors with like 3 colors and then white. And yeah, so I've just been working on this, and I don't have something specific, like a specific person that I'm making this for. I just really thought I liked these colors together and that, so that's what I'm working on. I've also got these sitting right beside me, which that's about 80 squares for another blanket I'm working on. So yeah, and I've just realized I don't have enough of that blue to finish, so I'm going to have to figure out another color to go with that. So if you have any suggestions, leave it below. I was thinking gold maybe, or a teal type of color. I'm not sure. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm not thinking outside of the box enough, but I don't know if I'm going to want to do just a lot of, like, a bigger join or other squares, like just alternate. I kind of am leaning towards the alternating squares and making it like checkerboarded instead of just all one color solid. So yeah, let me know what you think there as well. And yeah, so I hope everybody's been having a good week and a good few days lately. I've been okay. I've had a lot of busy stuff for me, going a lot of doctor's appointments and stuff, which is never great. It can be a bit draining, I find, and I'm hoping that going into this cooler weather will help me out. My body doesn't tend to like the heat and everything. I get sick more often, and I have more symptoms and flares for my stomach and other kind of stuff. And so I'm hoping that the cooler weather is going to bring more days that I can be more active and get out and do more. And yeah, and so I don't know, what's your favorite season? I've always been partial to autumn. I feel like it's nice to kind of start to slow down a little bit and have more, I don't know, I was saying, I've said before that it feels kind of like the warm hug of seasons. Just summer's the party, and if that makes sense, summer's the party where you might know maybe people a little bit, but you're meeting them for the first time, and it can be fun and exciting, but you don't want it to last forever. It doesn't sustain you. What sustains you is those longer relationships and knowing that you have a place to fall back to, and I feel like that's what autumn is to me. And I know that's a weird conversation starter, but I feel like autumn is a nice, safe hug type thing, and I like that. I like the nights get longer, and it just feels a bit more acceptable to be still, and you can get stuff done, but it's not in that frantic, hurried way that sometimes things feel like they are in summer. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of full-on winter. I do like the cold, but as I've gotten older, I started to appreciate why adults don't love winter, and it's just the endless shoveling and the having to brush off the car before you do anything. I think it's amazing that when you're little, so much of it is just, that stuff is just fun. You know, all you have to do is put on your snowsuit and go outside to play in the snow, but you don't think about the person that's got to, like, dry the boots and wash the snowsuit and plow out from under the car because they have to go out, not because they don't want to, and or not because they just want to go out, but because they have to go out. And so I think that as I've gotten older, as much as I loved winter before, I do love autumn a bit more. And yeah, that's an interesting thing I think about childhood, is you don't always see that other perspective. You don't always think about the fact that there's the non-fun jobs to do as well. So I know I thought about some, like, I knew that there was definitely unfun jobs. I just didn't think about kind of the volume of stuff, and where I try to find enjoyable parts in all of those tasks now. And for the most part, I don't hate anything. Like, I like vacuuming. I feel that you can feel a sense of accomplishment when you clean, and not in a way that I have to have everything like perfectly neat and tidy all the time, just that I feel like I'm happy taking a sense of accomplishment and feeling good when I do those chores. Like, I don't feel like they're necessarily a burden, unless it is that, you've got people coming over to the house and all of a sudden stuff that you thought you had a week to get put away or straightened around has to be done right away. Then that can feel more oppressive. But in general, I think even in tasks that are having to be done, you can find a degree of pleasure and joy in them. And I mean, that's not everything. Clearly, it's better if you've got somebody that can clean your toilets for you or do those tasks that you might not like. Although I'm sure there are people that feel fine cleaning the toilets. They don't hate it. They don't, they can feel that same sense of accomplishment I get vacuuming from doing that. And I think that's good. I think that's kind of, you have to feel, not that you hate those jobs, and of course you've got jobs that you just need to get done, but I also think it's really important to try to find the little things you like about tasks that seem great, and also tasks that maybe seem not so great, because I think sometimes it's good to remind yourself how to look for the good in situations. And yeah, I don't know how quite to say that. I just think that I've been trying to train myself to see the good in every situation over the years, and not good like blindly, like, oh, this is excellent, this is, so and so is really in trouble and I'm just going to see the good, but finding just something that you can appreciate doing, or a bit that you can find a bit of pleasure in. One example I use a bit is, this is probably like 10 years ago now, I started making sure when I was leaving stores or when I was interacting with people who were serving me, to make sure I said have a nice day and that I meant it. And I try to beat them to the punch type thing, where they're having to say it, and then anything you say after, they're just going to think you're kind of just saying, yeah, you too, no matter what you say. Whereas I've tried to make sure I'm like, and you have a nice day, and I really mean it. Like, I've tried to think about what that job must be like sometimes, and how much crap some people in their jobs take. And I've tried not to feel sorry for them, but just to make sure that I'm cognizant and thinking about other people in my interactions, not just that I'm running late to get to somewhere I thought I was going to get to a bit earlier, or not that I've got a million things on my list to do and I've just, I'm so wrapped up in my own head that I'm not aware of the person checking me out at the grocery store. And so I've been trying to kind of be present in those minor interactions, and tried to make sure that I let them know, not like that I necessarily think they're doing a great job, because that's not always what I'm thinking, but that I do want them to have a good day. I want to look them in the face and smile, so that it's not just a completely, so that their day maybe has more than just, half glances and faceless looks. And I'm not saying that I'm doing it just for them. I'm doing it for myself as well, because I know that I sometimes get a lot from those kind of interactions. People don't, you never know when a smile or a nod or a, oh, thank you for doing that, is going to make a difference. I know that I've had, tough days, and where it's the small things that sometimes get you. The somebody holding a door open for you and like really looking in your eyes and smiling and saying, there you go, or no problem when you say thank you, or just, just like general human kindness. And I think that that's really important to be aware, that when that stuff affects you that way, it can affect your same actions can affect others that way. And so I've tried to live my life like that, and I'm trying to be more aware of those things and try to be present, kind of. I know that sounds so like bleh, kind of, and a bit like a bit of malarkey, but I really do try. And it's not something that when I first started doing it I really had to be more aware, but generally now it's automatic, and not automatic in the sense that I'm not thinking, but I don't have to force myself to think that way. I don't have to actually go like, oh, this is a real person I'm interacting with, don't ignore them because, you know, your Twitter notification went off, or don't ignore them because you're trying to think about what you're going to do at the next store. And so I think that's a big thing for me. I'd actually read about that theory in a Norman Vincent Peale book, and I can't remember which one it was. The reason I'd started reading that was because I think somebody had said my grandma or grandpa had kind of liked them or something. I can't quite remember. I think there'd been something like that, though, where somebody from my past that I had known had liked them, and it was like a philosophy that they believed in. And so I thought I'd look it up, and I really connected with that idea of just being kind of kind to other people. It was a bit of a Mr.Rogers philosophy, really, at the end of the day, which is just taking other people into consideration and account. And another quote I've actually liked a lot that I've seen recently is, "Are you being the person that Mr. Rogers would want you to be?" And I think that that's something else that's, for all of us that grew up in North America and remember Mr. Rogers, that's actually a really good way to live. Are you being the person that Mr. Rogers would want you to be, that he knew you could be, that he encouraged everybody to be, which wasn't just successful, but it was also kind and thoughtful and doing your best, even if that meant you didn't win, because it's a win if you're doing your best, you know? And so I think stuff like that has really been hugely informative in how I make my decisions and how I interact with people in the last few years, especially people I don't know to start with. And yeah, I think that I don't think it's ever a bad thing but you have to mean it. You know what I mean? Like, people can smell bullshit a mile off when it comes to stuff like that. And the first time you do that, you mean it, and you get back that real, genuine smile, the sigh of relief, like, thank you. Like, nobody had seen them that day. They literally had been they could have been invisible behind the counter, and it was a busy day, and they've literally, like, I've had people literally say, like, nobody's ever said that first to me before. Like, it's because they have to say it at the job they're in, potentially, but nobody had ever said it first to them. And they look up at you and they look you in the eye, and it means something to some people. And I'm not saying that you should do it completely for other people, but you do it for yourself. It's just a way of interacting with people that is kind of taking other people in a very small way on board. And I feel like you're happier because you're not always irritated with other people, because you're thinking about, well, I don't know what their day's been like, and you try to kind of think about other people, like other people's situation. And I feel like you don't get as irritated when it takes longer for them to check you out, or when the credit card system goes down, or when they have to call and get a price check off the floor because something's wrong. And I feel like all those things that can be so irritating sometimes in life kind of slip away. I'm not saying that they're never irritating. I'm not saying that stuff never gets you. I just feel like the level of, like, frustration for dealing with this stuff goes down drastically when that attitude is had, when you're actually thinking, well, they're just doing their best. And instead of assuming you're the only person, that's trying in life, or that you're the only person that's having a busy day, that everybody might. And I just feel like it's really transformed how I interact in the world in general. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, do you guys, any of you do that? Do you try to, like, kind of, I'm guessing, most of you, I'm sure, have your own ways of interacting, but have you thought about that kind of interaction? Do you find it frustrating to go? I mean, I know that when I changed to, like, interacting more that way, and just not taking everything, not literal, that's the wrong word, just when I stopped getting agitated by some of that stuff, because I started thinking about the people on the other end and the other side of it and what they were dealing with, it became much, much easier to focus on not even focus. It became much easier to not get kind of irritated and frustrated for the most part. I mean, there's still people that you're like, what has happened? You know what I mean? Like, how did this end up like this? And I'm not saying you're never going to get agitated. I'm just saying that it's been such a freeing thing to do. It's been such a relief and so rewarding as well. And I've actually got other kind of things along this line. I don't know if I should really be going into it here now, because I have a feeling I've been talking for a bit. I thought this was going to be hard to do, but I'm not finding it too difficult to talk and crochet at the same time. But I'm saying I just think that there's a lot kind of to mine in this area of kind of conscious living and choosing to take other people into account. And is this something that you think we should talk about more? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, and I'm certainly not trying to tell you this is how you should be interacting with everybody. Just something that really worked for me and made a huge difference in my frustration levels for dealing with other people. And that Norman Vincent Peale book, I think it might be called Have a Nice Day or Smile. I'll have to look it up. If I can figure out which one it was, he wrote tons. I'll put it in the description box below, but I'm not sure I'll be able to figure out which one it was. And yeah, so I think I'm going to call it a day there, because it kind of does have a bit of a natural end, and I don't want to make this video like an hour long, and trust me, I could prattle on for an hour. But let me know your thoughts below, and give this video a like if you want to see more, or let me know if this is, you think this is kind of rubbish and I was just rambling incoherently for however long it's been, 15 or 20 minutes. So I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you next week. Bye!